One officer provided the bullets, another officer fired the gun, and everyone who was there on the day Mary Knowlton was shot to death at a Citizens Police Academy thought the officer was firing blanks. Those were just some of the mistakes that led to Knowlton's death last August at that Citizens Police Academy. A law enforcement expert told a jury today there were many other problems as well.
After watching the video and the pictures, had safety concerns as to how it was performed.
Right, and what were those safety concerns?
There was the fact that there was a live firearm involved in the scenario, the placement of the spectators in that scenario, and the distance from the scenario to the observers.
Now, Punta Gorda Police Chief Tom Lewis is on trial this week. That was the testimony you heard there. He's charged with culpable negligence because prosecutors say he was in charge of the system that allowed all of those mistakes at that Citizens Academy. The defense, though, says that the only one to blame here is Officer Lee Cole. He is the officer who fired the fatal shots. He is charged with manslaughter. His trial date has not been set. As you can imagine, Mary Knowlton's family is still, almost a year later, heartbroken over this. And Fox 13's Kimberly Quizon spoke today to Knowlton's son. Kim, this is the kind of tragedy that is, I'm sure, impossible for the family to get over, and now this trial bringing back the events of that day.
Well, Chris, as each person gets up there on the stand to testify, they are reliving the worst night of their lives. And back in August, Steve Knowlton, Mary Knowlton's son, said he forgave Officer Lee Cole and those involved in the shoot-don't-shoot scenario. But tonight, he's saying after months of learning more, that someone needs to pay for his mother's injustice.
She'd always find the loneliest kid and put her arm around him and make him feel loved.
Steve Knowlton says his mother's heart was made of gold.
My mom was such a huge part of our lives.
She was the family rock, and their lives were shattered last August 9th when she was taken unexpectedly.
My mom was there to support the police.
Steve says his parents attended the Citizen Police Academy as a way to show their support after a rash of police killings across the nation. He says Mary never planned on being part of any role-playing exercise. But when chosen at random for a shoot-don't-shoot demonstration, she didn't back down. As the scenario unfolded, Officer Lee Cole fired several shots, believing his gun was loaded with blanks. 2 live rounds ricocheted off a car and struck Mary, who fell to her death. At first, Steve forgave Officer Cole.
I assumed this was an honorable person that just made a huge mistake. I assumed that the department was like somewhat on the level, not this circus.
But as time has passed, Steve's opinion has changed.
Lee Cole is probably the worst officer they could have picked to play the role, the only role that required a gun.
For the last 3 days, Steve has attended the trial of Chief Tom Lewis. He's heard the testimony from one officer after another. He believes more of them should be charged, but that blame is being spread so thin that it protects those who were at fault.
I thought everybody dropped the ball, and I almost believe that some of these, the lieutenant and the officers took a little bit of a fall, so they're not charged with anything, so they can take a little fall to take the pressure off of Lewis.
Getting the call that his mother had died was the worst news Steve has ever received. And sitting through this trial is the hardest thing he's ever had to do.
They feel like it's dehumanized her.
And he can only hope that his mother will receive the justice she deserves.
What a wonderful woman she was, and what a horrible tragedy, just such a legacy she left here on earth.
Now, Steve told me earlier this afternoon that back on August 9th, his dad had this feeling that he didn't want to go to that Citizen Law Enforcement Academy night. And he told his wife, let's just stay home. But Mary said, no, we need to go. We need to support our local police. And he says no matter the outcome of this trial or the next, he'll continue to seek justice for his mother. Chris, back to you.
Yeah, who would have thought that something like that could happen at a Citizens Police Academy? Kimberly, thanks.
The state rested its case today in the culpable negligence trial of Punta Gorda Police Chief Tom Lewis. He is charged in the shooting death of Mary Knowlton at a Citizens Academy Shoot Don't Shoot exercise. Wink News reporter Morgan Francis is following the trial.
There's not one person or one piece of evidence or anything that's come out that has shown that Tom Lewis knew death was likely.
The prosecution rested its case on day 3 of Tom Lewis's culpable negligence case, and his defense attorney tried again to get his misdemeanor unsuccessfully dropped.
Were you present during the incident?
Yes, I was.
Wednesday, jurors heard an interview between Lewis and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement lead investigator immediately following the shooting that took Mary Knowlton's life.
Who was the hands-on person in charge of that scenario?
That's a great question. There were a lot of people involved in it. Katie Heck, who was our community services supervisor, was overseeing the entire event.
Lewis stated the police department hosted demonstrations like this roughly 10 times in the past, adding it was always the same.
We transitioned many scenarios ago to blank rounds, so it would have more of an impact.
Former firearms instructor Gene Sims testified Wednesday even blanks aren't safe to use during demonstrations.
It is a dangerous item and it should never be pointed at people.
Defense attorney Stephen Romine held to his argument that Cole didn't follow protocol and Lewis couldn't be held responsible for responsibilities he delegated. Morgan Francis, Wink News Now.
Some of the testimony we expect to hear tomorrow includes what type of ammo Officer Lee Cole used in his gun that killed Mary Knowlton.
Live from Southwest Florida's news source, this is Fox 4 News at 6.
Step outside the line.
Well, things getting heated at a community meeting in Punta Gorda today. Tempers flaring during the regular Coffee with a Cop forum at Phil's 41. The event was hosted by the city manager and the interim police chief.
A number of people in attendance really said they were upset. They feel like the police department is not properly serving them. It comes as the permanent chief, Tom Lewis, remains on administrative leave. He's fighting a culpable negligence charge, and one of his former officers on the left, Lee Cole, is accused of accidentally killing the woman on the right, Mary Knowlton, during a Citizens Academy class.
4 in your corner, Sam Soso, live in the studio now with more on this story. Sam? Amy, Pat, the shooting death of that 73-year-old Punta Gorda woman last summer at a Citizens Academy demonstration is still fresh in the minds of many in the city, and some are accusing the department of corruption, while others are supporting the police chief.
And then step outside the line.
Tempers flaring at Coffee with the Cop at Punta Gorda.
I'm telling you to shut up.
As people take sides over whether to support the city's embattled police chief.
This is the culture of corruption we're talking about. Yes. People not willing to answer their boss, the citizenry.
Suspended police chief Tom Lewis is facing culpable negligence charges after one of his officers shot 73-year-old librarian Mary Knowlton during a shoot-don't-shoot police training scenario in August. Whether the chief should be held responsible has been debated ever since.
And she says to me, are you here to support the chief? And I say no.
Some did come out in support of the chief.
I've never had a problem with the police department. I should do what you do. I know it's a difficult job. I know it's hard. Obviously, the problem here is that the situation of shooting has developed into a them versus us mentality.
City manager Howard Kunick telling Fox 4 they're still recovering from the tragic incident, but the police department's officers are still doing their jobs, protecting the citizens of Punta Gorda.
This is a tragic incident that we're dealing with. We will deal with that incident, but the police department is still operating and providing the service they need to do.
Now, so far, supporters have raised $6,000 for Chief Tom Lewis's legal fees. A judge will decide Friday whether the culpable negligence charge will go to trial or be dismissed. If it does go through, the trial will be in June. Fox 4 will continue updating you on this developing story. Live in the studio, Sam Sosa, Fox 4 in your corner.
All right, thank you so much, Sam. Tonight we're learning the state attorney has resigned from the Florida Police Chiefs Association. This is after the group voted to use funds to cover legal expenses of the Punta Gorda police chief, who happens to be the union president. Steve Russell actually filed that culpable negligence charge against Chief Tom Lewis. The Florida Police Chiefs Association is funded by your tax dollars, and this week the group voted to use some of that money to cover Lewis's legal defense, but it's unclear exactly how much of that money will be spent.
All new on Wink News at 6.
The chief has been doing a PR campaign about, I'm open, I'm honest, anything you want to talk about. Well, he doesn't want to talk about these other incidents. He didn't release these other incidents until you had to go digging through like a madman to find them.
Wink News pushes to get memos from the Punta Gorda Police Department about Lee Cole, the cop who shot 73-year-old Mary Knowlton during a shoot, don't shoot citizens demonstration back in August. These are memos that have never been made public before.
And tonight we'll tell you about the memo from an officer who trains other cops witnessing Lee Cole making what she basically calls a wrongful arrest. Wink News investigative reporter Dave Colbreth has the exclusive.
This sort of stuff should be unacceptable in any law enforcement agency.
He was a one-man wrecking crew in Punta Gorda, and nobody tried to stop him.
Is he fabricating things? Is he making things up just to make the arrest?
3 longtime Charlotte County attorneys, all who have also been prosecutors in their career, read this memo about an arrest made by Lee Cole, which the Punta Gorda police never released until Wink News spent a great deal of effort and hundreds of dollars.
Just shows that the Punta Gorda Police Department was hiding this stuff. Every news agency in the country was asking for these type of documents.
The memo really hit home for Steve Leskovich because it was about his client, Jacob Hill.
You always hear about corruption, but then to actually read it and know that it happens to someone you know is actually quite disheartening.
On June 23, 2015, Officer Bonnie Buckaloo sent this memo to the Punta Gorda police administrators.
They knew roughly 8 hours after this arrest.
Buckaloo, along with another officer, came upon Lee Cole, who had pulled Hill over for driving the wrong way on this one-way street. First, Cole had his dog sniff around the vehicle for drugs, but it did not detect any. After that, Cole said that he was changing hats and now going to try for a DUI.
He's fishing for something.
Buckaloo also wrote that Cole did not ask any of the related DUI questions and that she did not observe anything that would indicate an impaired driver.
Falling over, stumbling, no odor of alcohol, no bloodshot, watery eyes. None of that information is written anywhere in any of the reports.
Buckaloo summed it up by writing that Cole performed the requested sobriety exercises without any notable concerns, and that he probably should not have been placed under arrest.
It's shocking to read an officer's report that says another officer was seeking or finding a reason to make an arrest. Why is he even arrested?
Apparently, that's also what people in the state attorney's office wondered, because Wink News obtained these documents from them, where a prosecutor writes, I do not see how there was enough for a DUI arrest, and if that's out, then there's no probable cause to search.
I would bet $1,000 the state attorney had no idea that there was another officer on scene who believes that this was a false arrest.
So, the state attorney's office started playing let's make a deal and said it would drop 5 of the 7 charges, including 2 felonies and the DUI.
DUI getting dropped? Almost never. I mean, it is a very, very rare circumstance.
I can count on one hand how many times a DUI has been dismissed prior to charges being filed. This is one of them.
When the state attorney's office offered to drop most of the charges, Jacob Hill pled to minor possession of weed and got out of jail immediately.
He pled to those because he was in jail for 35 days and he needed to get out. Who's not going to take that?
Wink News talked to Jacob Hill, who lost his driver's license for a whole year, his apartment, and his job.
And now when he's looking for employment, what shows up on his background? A DUI. Who the heck's going to hire somebody with that kind of record?
So, what did the Punta Gorda police do about this memo? It said it was successfully prosecuted with the means of a plea.
And I have to tell you this. Any department that defines this as a successful prosecution, they should all resign.
Without asking, the Punta Gorda police also gave us emails saying things like, Buckaloo seems to have an obvious dislike for Lee Cole, stating to other officers that she refuses to acknowledge him or back him up on traffic stops.
She's one of their current own. She's part of the blue line. You don't cross it. She crossed it.
Would you have taken that plea had you known about this email, this memo?
Absolutely not.
When I talked with Jacob Hill, he said he came down here because he's a roofer and needed to work year-round. Well, after all this, he said no one would hire him, so he had to go back to northern Minnesota, and he said, try making a living there doing roofing in the winter. When we asked the Punta Gorda police for an interview, we were told the chief will not be providing an interview on the memo you referenced, continuing the public discussion of Officer Cole's work product prior to the conclusion of both FDLE's investigation and our own internal investigation is unfair and possibly improper on our end. That memo, as well as last night's story regarding those other memos, are on our website at winknews.com. Dave Culbreth, Wink News Now.
I think that was a sign of just arrogance. I mean, you don't need to double and triple check yourself. You don't need to have other people double and triple check you. You don't have to have a procedure in place. You don't have to make sure. Like, all of those things just make me sick to my stomach.
On August 9th, 36 people watched as a Punta Gorda police officer shot and killed a woman during a Citizens Academy demonstration. Officer Lee Cole's still on paid administrative leave after the death of 73-year-old Mary Knowlton. But could it have been prevented?
Tonight, only Wink News has memos that were not in Cole's personnel file. After weeks of requests and hundreds of dollars spent, Punta Gorda police finally gave us those memos with allegations of bad arrests, insubordination, and policy violation. Wink News investigative reporter Dave Culbreth has the details.
Nobody should be running around this town with a gun and a badge with these type of allegations against them.
No self-respecting law enforcement agency that I've ever encountered should be tolerating this kind of behavior.
Those are two longtime Charlotte County attorneys. Both of them were shocked when I showed them these memos obtained by Wink News after the Punta Gorda police fought hard to prevent us from getting them.
Just shows that the Punta Gorda Police Department was hiding this stuff. Every news agency in the country was asking for these type of documents.
These new memos show Lee Cole's problems with the Punta Gorda police. But Cole's problems started in his rookie year with the Miramar police, where he was involved in 2 internal affairs investigations. This one, where he yanked a man out of the back of his cruiser. After just 1 year, Cole was forced to resign. He then applied for jobs at over 24 police agencies near Miami. Wink News obtained Cole's application files from most of them, who turned him down. So he then redirected his efforts to Southwest Florida, where the only agency interested in him was Punta Gorda. It was a year after he left Miramar when Cole was hired by Punta Gorda.
Miramar got it right. The other 25 police departments that refused to hire him got it right. Punta Gorda got it wrong.
Cole's personnel file with the Punta Gorda police shows many positive things he's done. But then there's these newly obtained memos that were not in his personnel file.
When you hire somebody that was asked to resign from a different police force, they should be on thin ice.
The first incident Wink News discovered is depicted in this memo. It was February 4th, 2015, when Cole accidentally discharged his taser at home. He was never disciplined.
To have an officer not check his taser before he does a spark test, that is Barney Fife stuff.
On October 23, 2015, a supervisor, Thomas Keegan, wrote this memo saying Cole was insubordinate to him and questioned his authority.
I think that him being insubordinate to his lieutenant seems to kind of go along with all of the other misconduct that he's alleged to have engaged in, because, you know, each one of those is kind of him being arrogant.
Then exactly 1 week later, Cole saw a man riding his bicycle at night without a light. The man wouldn't stop, so Cole sicked his dog on him. But Wink News has now learned from this email that there was what was called a community initiative in place, where officers were supposed to give warnings and free bicycle lights to people instead of arresting them. The Punta Gorda police ultimately settled with the man for $60,000, and over $120,000 worth of medical bills were written off by a hospital. The Punta Gorda police also hired an expert who determined that Cole did not do anything wrong.
I don't care what they say, you know, him allowing that dog to rip the chest wall out of a man who was driving without lights on a bicycle, that's insanity.
The dog bite issue got attention around the world, and Cole said he was receiving death threats. So he improperly accessed the state computer system to remove his name from public records. He got a slap on the wrist from Chief Tom Lewis, who, ironically, illegally accessed the same system himself 5 years earlier and got suspended.
As an attorney, I mean, the Florida bar would be smacking me around something fierce, because you can't just engage in constant misconduct. He's got 5 or 6 incidents of serious misconduct. He's still a cop.
We asked Punta Gorda police officials for an interview about this story, and we were told, quote, "The chief will not be providing an interview on the memos you referenced. Continuing the public discussion of Officer Cole's work product prior to the conclusion of both FDLE's investigation and our own internal investigation is unfair and possibly improper on our end." Now, after all of that, that's not the most egregious things these attorneys say Lee Cole has done. That involved a wrongful arrest. We'll have that tomorrow night in part 2 of this story. Dave Culberth, Wink News Now.
These drugs and stuff, like the German jails, they would have, we got 7, I'm a Canadian originally, we got 7 times more.
Will you do me a favor?
What's that?
If you want to record me, I have no problem with that.
Right.
But this is not a public building.
Last time we were here, we already discussed it. They said we could.
But there are other people here that may not know that you're recording them.
Okay, last time I was here, I asked if I could record, they said yes.
I have no problem with it.
Right.
I believe the facility is probably in the same mindset as they were last time. But just out of common courtesy, let people know they're being recorded, please.
You're being recorded.
Well, wait till everybody's here.
You have to let them know too. Are you running? He doesn't answer questions. I'm sorry. No.
You just did. You did. If you have any questions for me, you can talk to my attorney, Kevin Shirley. Okay.
I gotta meet Kevin, man. He's popular,
house.
man. He is popular.
Your house? No, but he was the lawyer for the guy that sold when I bought my house 18 years ago.
Okay. Mom, sit here next to you, buddy?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anyhow, should be interesting. Good. You're from Punta Gorda?
Oh, did you meet him yet?
So am I.
No, tell me you were Canadian.
This is John Sertan. This is Ian. This is the guy that's doing all the filming, going for public records requests and stuff.
Oh.
They like him. They like him so much they trespassed him.
They do. I'm very popular.
What was the latest video on looking for a trespass? Jim Mello.
Oh, Jim Mello was trespassed from some real estate office for causing a disturbance in there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And
but the only record you got was 2015. That was the one?
Yeah.
Oh.
But they were giving the other guy like a hard time about getting the record, so I had to go down there and straighten those things out with him.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom, and by the way, we tried to get L.A. Daniels and the black people to come today. I'm totally serious. Totally serious. I said, let's meet here and have a conversation.
It's a shame.
It is. So.
The meeting's canceled. Maybe next month. It's going to be same time, same place?
The meeting's canceled?
Yes, sir.
Why?
We're the community.
Feedback from the Trabia Woods community.
We can't be part of it.
You're not members of the Trabia Woods community, no.
Oh my God, that's a good point.
You got your number, man. You just told me a few minutes. It's a meeting to discuss in the community, and now it's canceled.
Yeah.
Wow.
But seriously, I really appreciate you gentlemen.
No, but you told me a few minutes ago it's here to discuss a community discussion meeting, and now it's canceled.
Meeting's canceled, yes, sir.
Because I thought it was a community discussion meeting. That's what you told me a few minutes ago.
Yeah, we're members of the community. We like to be heard.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming.
When will Cole face justice? Will Officer Cole ever face justice, Mr. Lewis?
That's a great point. Ask again.
Will Officer Cole ever face justice, Chief Lewis?
What about Officer? What about Tom Lewis? What do you want to do? Go for coffee? Let's not waste the time. I'm shocked too, man.
He just told me
that you're going to have a meeting, right?
And I says, what is it about? And he says, it's just a community to discuss things in the community.
Right, he wasn't specific on which community, though.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
But said community.
Exactly.
I says, what is it, about? And I says, well, that's great. That's what we should have. It ain't worth it.
Okay.
Once they've got their mind made up.
All right, so what do you want to do? Let's not waste this. You want to do coffee somewhere or what?
Sure.
Harry, where's the closest place for coffee?
We could have just used this community center. We don't have to have anybody here. I can't. That's what I can't figure out. This is a public place.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you don't even need any kind of permission to
right?
I don't understand that.
He's supposedly saying I do have the right to film, but I'm supposed to let everybody know.
Don't believe that's true in Florida. Zoom in on this God we trust part. I'd like to find out what God they're talking about.
That is true.
What kind of trust is that?
So Ian, let's not waste it. Let's do coffee somewhere. Wait. All right, so John, you want to do coffee somewhere then? Where's the closest? Hey, I'm shocked too. Totally shocked. I'm totally shocked, man. So what do you want to follow us or?
Yeah, I'll follow you.
All right, we're down here. I'm in the white convertible.
Okay, I'll follow you.
So where do you want to go for coffee? Let's not waste it.
Whatever you decide, it's perfect. Yeah, I'm just easy to get out with, man.
He just shut the meeting down. He said we're not from the community, so he canceled it. So let's not waste it. What you want to do? Let's do coffee somewhere.
I'd give it about 2 or 3 minutes. These two just showed up for the meeting.
I know. Well, now 2 black people just showed up from the community, so are they going to have a meeting? I know, that's why he said maybe wait a minute. Oh, have you ever seen anything like that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, all right.
Oh yeah.
Are you here for the meeting? Are you here for the meeting? Hey, I think we got a meeting, man. We got another one. Yep. Your door. Okay, he still canceled it? All right, can I give you my card then? Hey, the reason why I showed up and the reason why he's freaking out, I unfortunately experienced the corruption here myself. So 3 years ago, I started Charlotte County COPWATCH. I was the guy that was in the newspaper and all 3 channels where they illegally looked me up on the David system. Not to bring me followers, but to do bad things because I'm exposing the corruption here. So that's why I think I'm shocked. He shut it down. So we need cops. You know we need cops. I know we need cops. We're trying to show people that we're here. You can hold them accountable. You can do different things. You know what I mean? Is it all right if I give you my business card? All right. So in 3 years, by the grace of God, I'm a Christian. The YouTube channel went nuts. 40 million views. 38,000 subscribers. In fact, I'll even give you my regular card. So I'm sorry that he did this. We seriously are here. We need police, but we were just here to let you guys know that we're here. If you ever have, if you ever need any help, investigating anything, or if you need a story put out, because internal investigations won't do anything. We were the ones that helped break the dog mall story. We're also the ones that did, in Collier County, 7 sheriffs beat the crap out of a white guy. He was in the hospital for 3 days. We broke that story. So we really are trying. Okay. We're trying to help. And sorry that we were shocked that he just killed it like this.
Okay.
So what was your name?
Reverend Brown. Reverend Howard.
Please get a hold of me, man. Do you guys got a card? I'm shocked. I really, really am. This guy right here, John Surcan, he helps the homeless over in Charlotte County. So he's going to let you guys know that he's here too. So he helps people there. In fact, you know what's crazy? He's the one the guy that supposedly got away from the sheriff at the water and hung himself. That's his landlord. He knows the guy. This wouldn't have happened. Like the guy said, he knew the guy. He didn't hang himself. You know what I mean? 65? So, anyways, I'm sorry that it bombed out. All right. Oh, are we filming? Yeah, he was supposed to be. That's what I told him.
So why don't you want to leave it up?
L.A. Daniels.
Do you not value our opinion?
All right.
Is Officer Cole ever going to face justice, Mr. Lewis?
Why, who are you with? Just a regular person? That's fine. I don't answer questions.
I'm a regular person. Hey, Andrew, I wanted you to meet David. This is Victor's friend.
Okay.
Andrew. Who are you, a regular
Andy.
person? COPWATCH?
No, I actually, I'm
not a regular person.
Careful. Careful. Hey, let's not waste this. Let's do coffee. What's the closest thing to here for coffee? Here's my card. Because Sirkan's here and everything. You didn't even get to meet him. He helps the homeless in Fort Charlotte.
Oh, okay. How you doing? Hi. How you doing? Yeah.
Okay, where's the closest place for coffee?
See you later, man. It was a short meeting. Sorry, I didn't get more time.
I'm not sure. Let's go over here and we'll all talk.
All right, John, we're gonna discuss over here what we're gonna do. But be careful for those bike racks. You almost got it.